Commanders, welcome back to the port. You are looking at the new Russian Tier 4 Premium Battleship Oktyabrskaya Revolutsiya. For the purposes of the rest of this video, we're going to call it October Sky. You see how I came up with that. Our commander is Nikolai von Essen. He was bald before it was cool, or mostly bald. His base trait improves the ricochet angle of AP shells, really a key on these lower tier, low caliber Russian battleships, tier 3, tier 4. And so I prefer von Essen in those tiers. He's inspired by Kedrov, who I use for the rest of the line, and Robert Jojard, who else also improves the AP shell penetration. So those two really kind of work together, which is why I like him as an inspiration. Taking a look at our first row skill, we're using all-out anti-air, a necessity in the age of aircraft carriers. Row 2, we're using crisscross, increasing the turret traverse. Row 3, collective labor, gives an extra damage con. And row 4, reaching out XXL. And our legendary skill is fully packed, which gives us 1 extra consumable charge. Looking at the October's loadout, we are using AA Guns Mod 2. Again, a necessity. If there weren't carriers, I would probably use main battery mod 2, maybe choose some different inspirations instead of Kedrov. And in terms of the loadout, we get 5 short reload damage cons, 3 repair parties, and 4 enhanced secondary targeting consumables. I think I may have been fooling around with you trying out Lev Gawler in the ship, which is why I had the epic flag on there. So we're going to remove that right about now. And we're going to remove the speed because we don't have any to begin with. There's our permanent Type 4 camo. I really like the way it looks. And the early adopter flag. Survivability, 42,500 hit points and a torpedo damage reduction of a whopping 10%. Artillery, we have 4 3-barrel turrets. They're essentially the same ones you find on the Nikolai. Reload in 32 seconds. The turn time is 33.6 seconds. 4,500 HE shell damage with a 33% fire chance. Not too shabby. AP shell damage 8,600. Only has 10 secondary guns. The reload is rather long. I don't recommend doing any kind of secondary build with this ship. I think the extra secondaries have been replaced by AA guns. And the October actually has pretty fair AA defense. Now that's beefed up by our first row skill with the commander. It's also beefed up by the AA mod that we used. Maneuverability, everything here is horrifically bad. Even the Nikolai has better rudder shift. And concealment, a little bit less concealable than the Nikolai, probably because it has a couple apartment buildings built on top of the ship. We do, unlike the Nikolai, have a below water citadel, even though it is not very well armored. At least it is not above water. I mean, remember, folks, this is essentially a Gangoot with a little extra armor, a little bit of reload, better AA. It's an up-tiered Gangoot. And so they've added more armor. You know, that bow, especially under the water, looks very weak under that plating there, which I'm presuming is the icebreaker. The turret arrangement is ridiculous. 2 face to the front, 2 face to the rear. Again, that's inferior to the Nikolai. This minuscule torpedo detection or protection belt, I mean, it might as well not even be there. It doesn't have any. The turrets are relatively well armored, but they do still get knocked out, just like the Nikolai. So please keep that in mind when you are playing the October. But you have to angle. You can see the extra AA guns on top of the turrets, and they're in the front. And smart players, I think, aim at that protruding bow and get lots of hits there. They've killed me before, I guess. My first game in the October, I was leaving for a work commitment for a couple of weeks, which is why you've had The content you've had for the last couple of weeks, I apologize for that. My first game, I pulled 94K in a down tier match like the one we're about to go in with an aircraft carrier. So I felt pretty good about that, but all my recording equipment was locked away, so I could not record that game for you. Otherwise, I would have had a game on the Monday this came out. All right, we are in a capture the base match, down tier 5-4 with an aircraft carrier. This is really preferable to a domination match for both the October and the Nikolai. The Nikolai's AA rating is 6. Got a couple guys with Mosin Nagants on the back deck, I guess. The AA rating for this ship is a little more acceptable. We'll see how it fares with a tier 5 carrier in the match. So when it starts off here, the Nikolai and the October both excel at locking down one side. So we're going to start by using the islands here to try to lock down one side of the map. Thankfully, for whatever reason, there are no destroyers, so this is really the ideal circumstances. I mean, ideal would be no destroyers, no carriers in a capture the base match, tiers threes and fours. So we didn't get that, but we got a carrier. We got tier four and fives. Like I said, I performed well in the first match in this thing in a 4 and a 5 match. So I know what to do. Um, you just shoot HE at those up tier battleships, friends. This has got a pretty good fire chance. Not as good as the Royal Navy, but 33% is nothing to sneeze at. And that's what I did in that first match out with the October, and that's what I'll do in this one if I have to. So we're looking at the Peter Belicky, essentially our comrade from the tech tree. And you can see we've got an over angle to get that fourth turret on target. And that is not the way to live life in this ship. So I'm going to speed back up here in order to reduce that angle. I'm going to lose that fourth turret and just keep the three front ones on the Peter Belicky. And I think you'll see doing so really doesn't pose a lot of risks. I think the Nikolai is more heavily armored. I mean, why have stats to back that up with? I don't have any to refer to, but you see here we're dinking and dunking. You know, we've got these 305 caliber rifles from like 1907. I mean, at the time this ship went out in the ocean, those are 15 years old, I believe, if I remember my facts correctly. So basically, they just took the Gangoot into harbor, gussied it up, and gave it a new name. So you're really hitting above your weight in a tier five match, in my opinion, with a tier three battleship. Um, you know, again, a couple of pens. We've had 9 hits. We've done a total of 5 grand. We're not having a lot of luck getting anything done against the Peter. I am thinking about switching to HE, but I'm unwilling to admit defeat as of this point. We're safely protected by this island to our starboard side. Most of their ships are, for some reason, going up the middle. They can keep doing that. I'm just going to sit right here. And the Peter is getting out of. I'm trying to see if I can get that fourth turn on. I realize, hey, I think this island's in the way. So I started speeding up, but I don't think it's going to be enough here. I think for the time being, the Peter Veliky is going to slip around the corner. My teammate is going to helpfully come in between me and him. So you can see 30 some odd second reload, not that great. Turret traverse, not that great. Speed, not that great. Maneuverability, not that great. Low caliber guns, not really penetrating a lot of armor. The odd thing is that when I'm in the Nikolai in a non carrier match, I'm like tier fives, bring it on. When I'm in this ship in a tier five match, I proceed very gingerly, although I don't mind carriers because we have what I would consider acceptable AA. To me, acceptable AA levels are 30 or higher for tier three, 50 or higher, and we're at 49 for tier five, and 75 or higher for tier seven, or 70% or higher for tier seven. So a Trento, I don't know if he just didn't know we were there. I think he knows that we are there now. So that's the first kill. Look at that. I'm playing handicapped, low controller batteries. Just put another mark in the column for how we're doing. All right, so we got our first kill, got our first citadel. At the end of the day, when you're in either the Oktyabrskaya or the Nikolai, when you see a broadside cruiser, that should be your number one target. Because that's what these ships do. They delete cruisers with one salvo. I believe we had all 12 barrels on that time, so we hit them with the 12 gauge, and the Trento was no more. I don't know how much over damage we did there. Like if the Trento was full health, would it still been a kill? I don't know that. Probably not. The Trento, I think, is a tier 5, so we'll just see how it's going. Meanwhile, that California is out there. I think that's the second one of our cruisers. He's just totally deleted from the match if you've been watching since the beginning. So I'm very leery of him, which is why I'm putting my nose kind of towards him, nose towards enemy. That's what you do in these ships. He's the toughest enemy in my area. I'm putting him at my nose. The Peter is not shooting at me. He's ignoring me. So I hit him for some pretty good damage there. Um, he sets me on fire with the secondaries, whatever. And I want to point out, yet to this point, we have not been, I mean, the match is about halfway over. We haven't been targeted by AA yet, not once, by enemy aircraft, I mean. All right, so the Peter is kind of at a weird angle to us. So I decided to switch to high explosive. Um, he's not exactly stern tanking, but close enough. So look at that. I got a Citadel shooting at the stern of a Peter Veliky, who was not broadside, he was angled. So that's a pretty impressive shot, I think, to do that. Maybe it was luck of RNG, who knows? But I'm not complaining. I wish we could have set him on fire. We did not, but I'm not even engaging the California. Tier 5 battleship less than 4 kilometers away, shooting at me. I am not even shooting at him. So you can see that if someone doesn't know how to engage the October, there he is, 4.6 kilometers away. Haven't fired a single shot at him yet. He's shooting full salvos at me, and he's really not doing a whole lot of damage. So if a guy doesn't know how to shoot at the October, um, somebody please more powerful than me shoot at the California. If the guy doesn't know how to shoot at the October, just put your nose at him, you know. And the Peter missed because we were backing up. So that's just maybe a little lucky, but I'm not going to complain. And we're just going to shoot some HE at the California, which is all I would ever shoot at the California. In my opinion, a really nice Tier 5 premium. If you don't have it, definitely worth it. Very nimble ship, very, very powerful. Like I said, he's deleted a couple of cruisers. Maybe the Tier 5 version of the Nikolai or this ship, I don't know. But he's got a lot of AA. I think I've seen builds out there where California has 100 AA rating at Tier 5. So a very, very dangerous ship. I'm backing off a little bit, giving him room. He's ignoring me. The carrier is ignoring me. They know where I am. And the California is ignoring me. And right now, you look at the score 44,000 damage, 1 kill of a half health Trento. Not very impressive. And that's fine. You know what? This California is going to ignore me at his own peril. All right, so a full salvo, all 12 barrels, two fires, and we're still short of 50K, but that's pretty good. I do increase my angling slightly. I think against um, ships that don't have good pen, and I don't know if the California is one of those compared to the Sarmer because he never shoots at me. Thank you, friend, for torpedoing him, even though that does some damage. Another salvo of HE. I don't know why he's not shooting at me. He could literally turn and probably delete me at this angle with one broadside. And so this is how you fight more heavily armored up tier battleships that you can't compete with because you have low caliber guns, friends. You just crank up the Russian HE. It is not Royal Navy HE, but it's pretty darn good. 33% fire chance. I could have taken that first row skill at hit to my AA and bumped it up to 35. But 33 is doing all right. One out of every three shells should start a fire. You can see I'm doing perfectly good damage here on the California. Trying to get a reload, trying to stop, but I'm not going to need the reload. You know why? Because we burned them down. And there he goes. And we're over 80k damage. Now what's left? Hello, Ranger. Did you want to see the October sky today? You have ignored me as well, at your own peril. Look at that, folks. These guys thought Tier 5 match that's a gimpy Tier 4 Russian battleship. Nothing to worry about. Oh, really? So let's go over here and pluck the fattest of gooses for our feast for the fall season. October sky, it all works together. The Ranger is a turkey waiting to end up on my dinner table. And I'm going to be forced to switch sides here in a minute when I see the Rangers advancing. I'm going to see he's way out of our range, 15.1 with this build. He's in the 17s, so I switch sides. The Nikolai has a huge advantage in this kind of scenario. The first three turrets swivel over. With the October, only the front-facing turrets swivel over. As you can see, turrets 1 and 3 have swiveled over. Turrets 2 and 4 have to go all the way around. Whoever designed this ship, the Gangut, in the beginning, you had one job. This is not how to do it. It's somewhat beneficial when stern tanking. In that first match, I was fighting, I want to say, a Congo or some other battleship, and I was stern tanking them. And it came in handy then because I was doing a lot of maneuvering. And so the second and the fourth turret were swiveling. Um, but yeah, this is not good for ship to ship fighting. Now, the Ranger isn't really a ship. The Ranger is more like an XP pinata waiting for me to destroy him at this point. But it is what it is. So those turrets are finally coming around. 30 some odd seconds later, we're finally gonna. Am I gonna wait or am I just gonna crank it out? I'm gonna wait for a full salvo. And I was thinking, oh yeah, he's dead. All right, maybe not. I got a Citadel out of it though. And we're reloading. And look, folks, I still got 4 damage cons and 1 heal left. If the enemy ignores the October Revolution, they're going to pay the price. It's that simple. That's like the moral of this story. We were down tier in a 5-4 match. The Tier 5 aircraft carrier, the Tier 5 California ignored us, and as a result, they are dead. High caliber, boom, we'll take it. Our aircraft carrier also got a high caliber. I'm not even going to feel bad. We got that high caliber 109, 178 total damage, over 200,000 silver. We destroyed 3 aircraft carriers. And let's take a look at the scoreboard. I said, let's take a look at the team results. The scoreboard. Come on, look at the scoreboard. I don't know what I was thinking here. All right, we finished down to the Ryujo. He had a really nice game. I think he had a Confederate, not a high caliber. But I'm not complaining. We finished second in a 5-4 match down tier with the high caliber, 3 kills. They ignored my boat and they paid the price. You ignore the October sky at your own risk. Don't do that, folks. All right. I really appreciate you watching. You can always hit that like and subscribe button. If not, no worries. Y'all have a great day. Thanks.